Start with breaking news in the case against Casey. Thousands and thousands of new documents and photos have just been unveiled. And the headline here, we now know the real reason meter reader Roy Kronk was in the woods where Kaylee was found, and it was not to use the restroom. Just one piece of info as Local 6's team of reporters combing through this new mountain of discovery. In moments, Mike DeForest has more of the lab results, and that could be bad news for prosecutors. But we start with Lewis Bolden. Let's make that with news about Roy Kronk. And Lewis, what is it?
Well, Eric, in an interview that was just released, Roy Kronk told detectives why he paid close attention when working in an area around the Anthony's home. It was because of a statement that Casey made to her family members.
You think Kaylee's okay right now?
In my gut, she's still okay. And it still feels like she's close to home.
Okay.
That's what Casey Anthony told her brother Lee in July of last year. It was a telephone call that Casey made to her family members while she was behind bars. Early on in the case, Casey told her family members she thought Kaylee was close to home, and she repeated that statement for months afterwards. In a just-released interview, it appears meter reader Roy Kronk took Casey Anthony's statements to heart. Kronk told detectives, quote, "My theory, well, real simple, was that she kept saying she was close. And it just made sense to me that if you were going to get rid of something like that, well, you would put it in a place where you knew there would be very little traffic whatsoever." Kronk says that's why when he was working in the area on Suburban Drive in August, he paid close attention. When he spotted something suspicious, he called the sheriff's department August 11th, 12th, and 13th, and called the sheriff's office 4 months later on December 11th. That's when Kaylee's remains were finally found. So Roy Kronk really took those statements to heart. And again, those are statements that Casey Anthony said to her family members numerous times.
And we just talked about this a short time ago, Lewis and I, before the show began. We heard all this from Casey, but he's like the only one who went ahead and went with what he thought was reality, that it was so close to her home.
And it's important to note that that area had been searched before, but we have to remember the water issue. That is an area that is prone to flooding. I've interviewed neighbors out in that area several times, and they say even we had Tropical Storm Faye later on. Right. But residents there say even when there is no tropical storm, that area is prone to flooding. So it had been searched, but there were water issues there.
And then it retreated, and there we have found it. Okay, thank you so much for that, Lewis. Let's get right to Mike DeForest. Our team coverage continues here. And Mike, we're learning these new lab results released so far will not be much help to the prosecution.
That's right, Eric. It's clear that detectives were trying to scientifically link evidence that was found out in those woods to items that they seized from inside the Anthony's home and Casey's car. But based on these lab results that have been released so far, they cannot conclusively make any scientific connection.
About a month after Kaylee's body was found in these woods, scientists at the FBI laboratory examined the child's hair for any foreign chemicals. Although detectives found high levels of chloroform in Mother Casey's car, scientists did not check Kaylee's hair for chloroform, saying that such tests would not offer up any proof. However, Orange County Medical Examiner Dr. Jan Garavaglia asked the lab to check the hair for the drug Xanax, perhaps because of speculation that the mysterious babysitter Zanny may have been a code name for Xanax. The lab also looked for signs of a muscle relaxant. However, absolutely none of those chemicals were found in Kaylee's hair. But scientists say it's still possible the child was exposed to small amounts of the drugs. Investigators also examined a knife that had once been inside Casey's car. Even though the blade contained some sort of clear, sticky material, investigators could not prove that the knife was used to cut the duct tape found around Kaylee's mouth. That duct tape did not contain any fingerprints. The day after Kaylee's body was found, detectives seized 22 pairs of Casey's shoes. Scientists compared soil on the bottoms of those shoes to soil samples collected at the crime scene. Even though investigators say it's possible one of those pairs of shoes had trampled through the forest, the lab found no soil matches.
Now, back when meter reader Roy Kronk first visited those woods back in August, he and his co-workers found a dead 4.5-foot rattlesnake. Now, unbelievably, one of those co-workers took the rattlesnake home and put it in his freezer. Scientists later conducted an autopsy on that frozen rattlesnake to see if by chance it had swallowed any evidence. Well, they found nothing significant, but it's ironic that investigators know how that snake died. It was run over by a car, but they still do not know how Kaylee died. Eric?